Guyana, Venezuela, Guyana. Definitely one of the most gorgeous waterfalls in the world. The big question is, how are we getting our food here in the middle of the jungle? I don't know, it's just so amazing just to be so free and wild. Absolutely love it. Because we just have to deal with jungle stuff.
Oh wow! What's this play? Holy smokes! Oh my head! Jump, jump, jump! Oh my life! Jump, jump!
Alright, good morning. Welcome to day 3 out here in the jungle. And this is where we slept last night. A bunch of hammocks everywhere. Everyone's having breakfast. It's actually a mosquito net for the mosquitoes on a hammock, which is pretty cool. So luckily nothing was stuck in there. They basically give you a blanket. You gotta wear a jacket, long pants, and socks. Otherwise it gets very, very cold. I was kind of smart and I actually hung up my backpack and my shoes because it rained last night quite heavily. So I want to make sure my shoes don't get, 1, bugs and insects in them, and 2, don't get wet while it rains. What a little home for us looks like. Anyway, today's plan is to go hit the waterfall, do some hiking again, continue exploring this very remote part of the world. All right, so the big question is, how are we getting our food here in the middle of the jungle? Well, there's a few ways. We actually have food with us for some things, and we do have our wonderful cook, Amaida, that's with us, and she actually lives in a village. Man, that's probably like 5 hours walking, 5-6 hours where we were last night, and she walked all the way here just to come make us food, and she was carrying a bag that was probably heavier than our bags, and she walked for 4 or 5 hours, and she made it here to come cook for us. It's crazy. And then she goes back that way, and we head off the other way. So, and even then, where she's located, it still takes about 3 hours, 4 hours walking to go get food from the village down somewhere else. It's not an easy feat to get food around these parts. Yeah, it's quite a luxury. It's very nice. So that's how we're doing our food situation at camp. Now, what's interesting is that if you see a little mountain over there, right there, that is actually Venezuela. We are right on the Venezuelan border. So we were told that there's no border officials, there's no crossings, there's nothing. It's just basically because it's all jungle, it's not patrolled, there's nothing taking care of it. You can walk in and out of Venezuela, Guyana, anytime you want, basically. They actually found the remains of a human body on this area, so it's not exactly safe anywhere around the world. If it's too remote, anything can happen. This is Guyana, Venezuela, Guyana, Venezuela. We're packing up here and we're taking off. All right, so on a logistical note, if you're wondering how I'm carrying water, I have this 3-liter bottle thing that you see here. 3 liters definitely is the way to go. By the next morning, I barely have just a little bit left, which is this much. You sweat less than I do. Yeah, probably 2 will be fine, but 3 is always the best. Safety first. Also, it's always good to be self-sufficient, to have your own water the whole way. So something interesting that's happened in this group is, we've all become pretty familiar with each other. Half of us have seen each other naked when we were showering yesterday at the river. It's become quite a little brotherhood of ours. Even the flatulence is part of our running gag. And yeah, it's interesting how groups of males, we bond in certain ways. And the way this group is bonding, knowledge of football, soccer, the international sport, and everybody talks about it at night, talking about it during the day. So I feel a little excluded as I'm the only one who is not completely in tune with names and stats. And I'm quite the introvert, so I'm perfectly happy just being by myself. And I was wearing shorts, and I actually got ticks. I got these little mites on me, and as soon as you brush them off, they leave a trail of blood. And man, my legs were itchy all day yesterday. So today, I made the smart decision. I'm putting pants on. Those come with Lyme disease sometimes, so you gotta be very, very careful. It's a very nasty disease. Something bit me. Something got me right on my thigh. definitely one of the most beautiful waterfalls I've ever seen in my life. Not just because of the drastic height, not because it's so gorgeous and the amount of water. It's because you can be at the very edge of it and no one's here to tell you, don't do that. You gotta be not stupid about it. Definitely one of the most gorgeous waterfalls in the world. All right, back in the savannah we are after the waterfall experience, and wow, really, that is the best waterfall I've ever been to in my life. One, because the view of it and the drastic drop of it is just unbelievable. Second, you can walk up right to the edge, do whatever you want, and no one's there to tell you otherwise. The sound and everything. Third, there's no one there. It's just you. You have an entire amazing waterfall all to yourself. Unbeatable. It really, really is. You know, a lot of times when you travel around the world, things are very touristic, very populated. All to yourself, quite special. That makes the last 3 days trekking here, that 30-40 minutes we spent there, completely worth all the pain, agony, dehydration, and struggle it was to get here. I took a nice little dip in here. It was absolutely fantastic. I've never had a river water activity that's like right next to this amazing waterfalls. I also didn't want to get my clothes wet, so the only real thing you can do is just go naked. That's the way it is. I don't know, it's just so amazing just to be so free and wild. Absolutely love it. If you've never had an opportunity to do something like this, skinny dip in the middle of a waterfall, you gotta do it. It's so great. All right, for lunch today we have rice and beans, some cucumbers, and some cabbage and vegetables. Looks beautiful. And we always get these kind of disposable little spoons you can click in together. And we basically reuse this tub for all of us. We all cook a big pot of food and then just distribute it throughout all the different people. So that's how we do it out here in the jungle. Oh yeah. It's good stuff. So we've been trying to cross this river now for about 3 hours. We're waiting for a guy with a boat to take us, except we don't think he's gonna show up anymore, so we've just been hanging out for about 3 hours. Guys have improvised a makeshift boat that it just was a broken boat that they found that was back here just deteriorating in the sun, but they got the tarp and they put the tarp under it to make it a little more waterproof because we just have to deal with jungle stuff.
Oh wow! What's this play? Holy smokes!
Oh no! Paddle back.
Jump! Okay, this is real. I have to jump out of the wind. Fuck my life.
Are you okay?
Holy.
A little shaky. Well, if you want adventure, that's the one way to do it. If you want to know the gravity of how severe and dangerous what we just happened to experience was, it is a life near-death experience, because that's what we would have gone under, and the waterfall that we just saw down there was the next thing. If you survive this, then you're falling off that thing, and there's no survival whatsoever. So the fact that we made it out relatively unharmed, so close to the first rapids, is just, it's insanity. I can't even express to you what I'm feeling. I was very calm and I knew when to get out because I was swimming in these rapids earlier, so I knew how strong they were at a certain point. So I said, this is the moment, you gotta jump now, otherwise it becomes too strong and it takes you away, especially with all your luggage with you. Man, I don't like having those. I've had those a few times in my life, but That's barely calling it close. All right, so the situation was that the wind and the thunder and the rain just picked up at a sudden moment. There's a water spout, a water tornado that took us all the way back and pushed us straight into the rapids. That was the situation. It was perfectly calm and fine, and we got 2 people across, but then it got to us and the weather shifted within 2 seconds. It just dramatically altered the course of the wind. It took us straight to the stream, and that was it. We couldn't do anything about it. We tried pedaling out of it, we tried moving out of it, and we couldn't. It was gnarly. It just took us and destroyed us completely. But anyway, grateful to be alive, happy, everything's fine, everything's good. We have no idea how we're gonna get across now. Everything is soaked, my camera is soaked, my cell phone's soaked, everything's soaked, so I'm gonna try to get out of these wet clothes. And yeah, reminisce on how great life is when you're alive and not going over waterfalls.